Good evening. My name is Pal DiUlio and I'm the, CEO, that's Chief Entertainment Officer around here of Villa Charities. On behalf of Rudy Brady, who's in a meeting somewhere and should be here later, on behalf of Nina Perfetto, both chairs of our foundation and Villa Charities, and on behalf of Karen Manarin, who's in the audience somewhere, the chair, volunteer chair of Columbus Center, and some of our other board members, welcome to the Carrier Gallery. Last year, Villa Charities, which includes a number of other names that you may have heard or buildings that you may have visited, Villa Colombo, it includes Vita Community Living Services in Mensana, it includes Caboro Terrace, Casa del Zotto, and Casa Abruzzo, it includes Villa Colombo Vaughan, all part of Villa Charities. We celebrated our 40th anniversary. We are pleased to have worked for the past 3 or 4 months with the passionate and fearless Gerda Freiberg, who is the reason why you're here tonight. We're here tonight sharing something. And through Gerda and the UJA Federation, she was able to bring Samuel Bak here, and you'll let the art speak, remind you never to forget for yourself. Our communities, the Italian and the Jewish communities in Toronto, have lived together, loved together, worked together, developed together, perhaps now owned together a good piece of the pie. And it's only fitting that somehow we could do something here at the Carrier Gallery tonight. Columbus Center is where Bathurst Street meets Dufferin. And for these sort of occasions, on other occasions that started about 20 years ago, these kind of friendship societies to share, to show respect, to work together, to develop Toronto, to share with others, we kind of coined a new word, which I'll share with you. Ciao Lom. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Mira Goldfarb, the Executive Director of the Sarah, and I gotta get this right, Chaim Newberg Holocaust Education Center of the UJA. Please. Fresh from Milano.
Thank you, Pal, for that very gracious and stylish introduction. And thank you to Rosa Gracci, the Carrier Gallery's curator, for most outstanding partnership and warmest collegiality and friendship through the very exciting and rewarding process of bringing this exhibit to Toronto under the leadership, the inspirational leadership and guidance of Gerda Freiberg. I bring greetings to all of you on behalf of UJA Federation, our CEO Ted Sokolsky and Chair Elizabeth Wolf, who couldn't be with us this evening because they are in Israel attending meetings this week, but they are also represented by UJA's Vice President for Culture, Laurie Starr, who is with us this evening and was instrumental in the realization of this exhibit for Toronto and all of our communities this evening. And we thank Laurie, who is also Executive Director of the Koffler Center for the Arts. On behalf of the Neuberger Holocaust Education Center, I also bring greetings from our chair, Mrs. Honey Sherman, and our vice chair, Marilyn Sinclair, and our entire advisory committee. But the true VIP of the Holocaust Center this evening is Gerda Freiberg, who I'll introduce to speak to you in a few moments, but about whom I'd like to share a few words of personal and collective tribute. Gerda was a founder of the original Holocaust Education Center in 1985 and she has truly been a pillar of our community and of our city and our civic society. She is a treasure that we need to take this evening to recognize and commend. Gerda's been a pillar not only of and for remembrance. She had the foresight and the tenacity to speak up at a time when it was unpopular, a time when no one wanted to listen, particularly to a woman. She spoke on behalf of remembrance and those who could not speak, but she also embraced the future, the prospect and the imperative of building community, of celebrating and safeguarding Jewish life and civic life, democratic life. Gerda, we thank you, we salute you for all you have given us, culminating in this wonderful opportunity to present the art of Samuel Bak to diverse communities and diverse generations of this city and our country. We thank you, Gerda. As you'll see, and I encourage you to experience all 3 floors of this magical exhibit, you'll see that Samuel Bak's remarkable work captures the essential and universal tragedy of the Shoah for all humanity, while maintaining a crystal of hope in the future, just like Gerda. It's embodied in children and in artists and in goodwill among people of integrity and humanity, like all of us here tonight, and the diverse audiences who we know will have the opportunity to experience this exhibit over the next 2 months. We thank Samuel Bak, who couldn't be with us tonight, but will speak to us via the miracle of technology very shortly. We thank him for so graciously sharing his work for this exhibit, especially his early watercolors that were painted in the DP camp where he knew Gerda, and you can see them on the top floor of the exhibit. They're truly special. We also thank our partners in this exhibit, the Pucker Gallery of Boston, and we very warmly welcome John Pucker this evening, and he'll speak to us very shortly. Our educational partners, Facing History, and ourselves, and we welcome their director, Leora Schaefer, and so many members of their board. I'd also like to thank the staff of the Neuberger Holocaust Education Center, my tireless colleagues for their efforts and diligence in making this exhibit a reality together with the Carrier Gallery, and a very, very special thank you goes to the Neuberger's talented and dedicated museum educators who have worked so hard and made themselves available to tour groups throughout this exhibit for the next 2 months, in addition to their group tours at our museum on the Lippa Green at Sherman campus. This event would not have been possible without the support of special major donors, and Gerda wishes to acknowledge and thank all of you personally, but I would like to thank you on behalf of UJA Federation for your generosity and support, without which this extraordinary endeavor would not have been possible. Thank you very much to our special donors. Tonight and throughout the exhibit, we are so pleased to be joined by politicians from all levels of government and dignitaries from international governments. Your continuing commitment to never forget is deeply meaningful and appreciated. And with that, I would like to welcome and introduce Her Excellency Ginta Domitius, Ambassador of Lithuania, to bring very special greetings to us this evening.
Honored guests, it's really a great pleasure and honor for me to be here with you today. Firstly, allow me to congratulate UJA Federation of Greater Toronto for taking the initiative and organizing this exhibit, and special thanks go to Ms. Gerda Freiberg for her role in this remarkable exhibit, which seeks to educate Canadian students and the broader public about what we lost because of the Holocaust. One of the main reasons I'm here is Samuel Bak is a son of Lithuania. He was born in Vilnius. He's a Litvak, and actually a living example of what Lithuania lost. Nazism in Lithuania really left a terrible wound in the history of mankind, the Holocaust. And it's impossible to imagine Lithuanian history without the indelible mark that was left by the Lithuanian Jewish community on the political, cultural, educational, and economical development of the country. Vilnius, as you know, was known as the Jerusalem of Lithuania, and it was the most honored center of Judaic culture. And even today, the Jewish quarter of Vilnius is really one of the most beautiful and interesting parts of our capital city. This exhibit is about loss. It's the loss of Jewish lives to genocide, the loss of Litvak culture and history, the loss of what could have been in Lithuania and in many other countries. And during the long decades of Soviet occupation, the last traces of Jewish memory were erased from our history. But we retraced them and renewed them only when censorship ended in Lithuania and people actually began speaking freely once again. And I can say that today's democratic Lithuania is working hard to keep the memory of the Holocaust alive and promoting the best defense against authoritarian and totalitarian ideologies by promoting freedom based on democratic values and respect for human rights. Last year, the Parliament of Lithuania declared 2011 the year of Holocaust victims, and many events of remembrance were held across the country on this occasion to commemorate those who died so tragically. And actually, one of the more memorable events was something that took place on the initiative of young people with no government program involved, but it was actually something that was done through the social networks, a flash mob, so to speak, that gathered at St. Catherine's Church in Vilnius. And these young people read the names of murdered Jews in the tens of thousands from the early morning hours to the late night. And this was really quite a remarkable gathering because the participants were drawn together by one desire: to remember and to honor the victims of the Holocaust. So it's wonderful that Samuel Bak has agreed to donate some of his works to Lithuania. Last December, our Prime Minister attended his exhibit opening at the Vilnius Jewish Museum, and his exhibit was really an integral part of the many events that mark the year of Holocaust victims. I want to thank you once again for this initiative, to tell you that really it's an honor for me to be able to participate and see firsthand the works of Samuel Bak, and to congratulate you once again on this effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador. And now it's my distinct honor to introduce Mrs. Gerda Freiberg to address us all this evening.
Actually, you should be in bed now. Doctor's orders, but I don't take orders. And so I'm here. I can't believe it actually happened. It was almost 3 years ago when I went down to Boston to meet the artist after 65 years. I went to the Packer Gallery. They have a floor full of his paintings, and when I looked at the paintings, my question was that this exhibit ever in Canada? No. I said, well, it's high time that it comes to Canada. Little did I know that it'll take me almost 3 years to bring my dream into fruition. But I guess I am stubborn and I continued. Many times I felt like I don't think so. But I went on, and I'm really happy that I'm here presenting this to the community, Toronto community. I'm very grateful to Rosa Grazzi, who wasn't that interested when I came with a catalog and showed it. I like to rent the gallery. And she said, you know, that's very morbid. I said, I don't want to answer now. Take it home, and I'll come in a few days. So I did. And I came up, and she said, so when do you want the gallery? My biggest disappointment was when Samuel Bak got sick, I believe in November, because I was determined to bring him to Canada to meet our community and for you to meet him. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. So, same thing that wasn't to be that speech I was going to give. But I think the pictures will speak for themselves. All I want to say, the reason that I brought this exhibit, I found in a book called I Promised I Would Tell, which was published by Facing History and Ourselves by Sonia Schreiber-Weitz, a Holocaust survivor. 1.5 million Jewish children and their children's children, unthinkable numbers. But what hurts the most is the haunting thought of what else we lost. And how do we ever begin to mourn the generation that never to be born? A leader, a hero, an heir to the nation, a builder, an artist, a healer, a clown. The cures undiscovered, the music unwritten, all the dreams undreamt, or shattered or broken, unimagined treasure, the losses unmeasured, unwept, and unspoken. This time I want to thank my donors, and I can't even express how grateful I am to you. It's not a project that brings some food to somebody's table, or looks after children, or the weak, or the... It's an exhibit